I'm Alexandra Collins, 23 years old, and I'll never forget the day my father slammed me against our living room wall. His hands gripped my shoulders so hard they bruised, my back thudding against the drywall as I struggled to breathe. His face was inches from mine, spittle flying as he screamed about my selfishness, all because I refused to cancel the most important interview of my life to drive my spoiled sister to the mall. His eyes filled with a rage I'd never seen before, transforming the man who once protected me into someone I no longer recognized. As I gasped for breath, I wondered how family could turn so toxic. Before I dive into my story, where are you watching from today? I'd love to know in the comments. If you've ever dealt with toxic family dynamics, hit that like button and subscribe to join our supportive community. Now, let me take you back to how this nightmare began. Life wasn't always this way. After graduating with my marketing degree last year, I moved back home to save money while job hunting. With $45,000 in student loans looming over me, living with my dad seemed like the sensible choice. I never imagined it would become a psychological battleground. Our family dynamics shifted dramatically when my dad, Richard, married Karen 5 years ago. Before Karen, Dad was my biggest supporter. He attended every dance recital, helped with school projects, and taught me to change my own oil. We were a team after Mom died when I was 12. Tell me, Lexi. You've got your mother's brains and determination. You'll go far, kiddo. Then Karen entered the picture with her daughter Brittany in tow, and everything changed. Slowly at first, subtle comments about how much space I took up, or sighing loudly when I used the kitchen. Karen was a master manipulator, always making her criticisms sound like helpful suggestions. Alexandra, sweetie, maybe you shouldn't wear such bright colors with your complexion. Or I'm just saying most girls your age have better career prospects by now. Dad changed too. He began parroting Karen's opinions, brushing off my accomplishments, and comparing me unfavorably to Brittany. The transformation was heartbreaking. He went from my champion to a man who couldn't make a decision without checking with his wife first. Brittany, now 17, quickly learned she could get anything she wanted. A tantrum here, some tears there, and both parents rushed to appease her. New iPhone? Done. Designer clothes? Of course. A car for her 16th birthday? Nothing but the best for their princess. Meanwhile, I worked part-time at a coffee shop while sending out dozens of job applications weekly, just trying to build my career. You should be grateful we're letting you stay here, Karen would say, as if my childhood home was now a charity case they bestowed upon me. I started eating dinner in my room to avoid their critical glances. My bedroom became my sanctuary and prison all at once. The job search was brutal. 6 months of rejections, ghosted applications, and interviews that went nowhere. Each we've decided to pursue other candidates' email chipped away at my confidence. The marketing industry was competitive, and entry-level positions were scarce. I kept a spreadsheet, 137 applications, 23 first interviews, 4 second interviews, 0 offers. My bank account dwindled as I contributed to household expenses, bought groceries, and made minimum payments on my student loans. Moving out seemed increasingly impossible without a full-time professional position. I calculated I'd need at least $2,500 for first month's rent, security deposit, and basic furniture. My savings hovered around $1,200. Then, like a lifeline thrown to a drowning person, I received an email from Sullivan & Brooks, one of the top marketing firms in the city. They wanted to interview me for a junior account manager position. The salary range they mentioned would not only allow me to move out but also start making real progress on my loans. For the first time in months, hope flickered inside me. That night, I researched the company extensively, reading about their campaigns, clients, and company culture. I practiced answers to potential interview questions in front of my mirror. This wasn't just a job opportunity, it was my ticket to freedom. If only I'd known how desperately my family would try to sabotage it. The email confirming my interview time sent a surge of adrenaline through my body. 10:30 a.m. Thursday with Jessica Montgomery, marketing director at Sullivan & Brooks. I immediately laid out my most professional outfit, navy pencil skirt, cream blouse, and my one good blazer, a black fitted jacket I'd splurged on for graduation. I spent the entire evening preparing, researching common interview questions, and crafting thoughtful responses about my experience managing social media for local businesses during college. I practiced my elevator pitch until I could deliver it naturally. I'm Alexandra Collins, a recent graduate with a passion for creating authentic marketing narratives that resonate with millennials and Gen Z consumers. Around 7 p.m., I went downstairs to iron my clothes for the interview. Karen was in the kitchen preparing dinner, her face pinching when she saw me. "What are you doing?" she asked, eyeing the blazer draped over my arm. "Just ironing my clothes for tomorrow's interview," I replied, trying to keep my voice neutral. "You're using the good ironing board." She raised an eyebrow. "I was going to use that for Brittany's cheer uniform." I bit back a retort. "It'll be quick." As I set up the ironing board, Karen hovered nearby, commenting about how expensive dry cleaning was, and how some people didn't appreciate the value of good clothes. Then, as I was almost finished, she bumped into me while carrying her coffee mug. Brown liquid splashed across my blazer sleeve. "Oh!" she exclaimed with exaggerated surprise. "I'm so clumsy. Sorry about that." The coffee spread across the black fabric, leaving an obvious stain. My heart sank. This was my only professional blazer, and I knew it wasn't an accident. "No worries," I forced out, rushing to the sink to blot the stain with cold water. Karen offered half-hearted assistance, somehow managing to spread the stain further with her help. After 30 minutes of desperate cleaning, I managed to reduce the stain to a faint outline. I'd have to position my arm carefully during the interview and hope no one noticed. At dinner, Dad asked about everyone's plans for tomorrow. Brittany talked endlessly about her social studies project that was totally stressing her out. Karen detailed her lunch plans with the neighborhood gossip committee she called her social circle. When my turn came, I tried to contain my excitement. "I have that interview at Sullivan and Brooks tomorrow, the marketing firm I told you about." Dad nodded vaguely. "That's nice, Lexi." Karen looked up from her plate. "Is that tomorrow? I thought it was next week." "No, it's definitely tomorrow at 10:30, I replied. Brittany suddenly perked up. "Dad, you said you'd take me to the mall tomorrow to get new shoes for Heather's party." Richard looked confused. "Did I? I thought that was Friday." "No, it has to be tomorrow," Brittany insisted. "The party's on Saturday, and I need time to coordinate my outfit." She turned to me with a calculating look. "But you have a car. You could take me." I nearly choked on my water. "I can't. I have my interview, remember? But the mall opens at 10, she argued. "You could drop me off on your way." "The mall is in the opposite direction from the office park," I explained. "Plus, I need to arrive early to prepare," Karen interjected. "Alexandra, surely you could help your sister out. Family supports each other." "I've been working toward this opportunity for months," I said firmly. "I can't risk being late." "You could reschedule," Karen suggested with a dismissive wave. "It's just a little interview." "It's not little, this is a prestigious firm, and I'm lucky they're even considering me." Dad finally spoke up. "Lexi, maybe you could make it work? Drop Brittany off a bit early." I set down my fork. "Dad, I can't. This interview is too important." An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. Brittany pushed out her lower lip in a practiced pout, while Karen gave Dad a meaningful look. He sighed but seemed to accept my decision. After dinner, I overheard Karen and Brittany in the kitchen. "Don't worry, sweetie," Karen said. "She'll take you. Your father will make sure of it." "She's so selfish," Brittany complained. "It's just a stupid job interview. She can get another one." "Well, handle it in the morning," Karen assured her. "Trust me." A chill ran down my spine. I retreated to my room and received a text from Tracy, a former classmate looking for a roommate. "Apartment available next month if you're still interested. $700. Month each." I stared at the message, determination hardening inside me. Tomorrow's interview wasn't just important, it was my escape plan. My alarm blared at 6:30 a.m. I'd barely slept, anticipation and anxiety keeping me awake most of the night. Still, I forced myself through my morning routine with methodical precision: shower, light makeup, hair styled in a professional bun. I examined the blazer again, relieved to find the coffee stain barely noticeable unless you knew to look for it. By 7:45, I was dressed and ready. The interview wasn't until 10:30, but I planned to leave by 8:30 to account for traffic and arrive with plenty of time to center myself. I headed downstairs to grab a quick breakfast. Karen was already in the kitchen, aggressively whisking eggs. She looked up when I entered, eyes narrowing as she took in my professional attire. "Well, don't you look fancy," she remarked, tone hovering between compliment and criticism. "Thanks," I replied simply, reaching for the loaf of bread. We moved around each other in tense silence. Dad joined us a few minutes later, already dressed for work in his usual button-down and slacks. He kissed Karen on the cheek before acknowledging me with a nod. "Big day, huh?" he said, pouring himself coffee. "Yes, I'm nervous but prepared," I answered, trying to engage him in normal conversation. "You'll do fine," he said distractedly, attention already shifting to his phone. The artificial calm shattered when Brittany made her entrance, still in pajamas but with full makeup, hair perfectly styled. She took one look at me and rolled her eyes dramatically. "So you're really going to that interview?" she demanded. "Of course I am," I replied, keeping my voice even. "But I need to go to the mall. Heather's party is tomorrow, and I have nothing to wear." Her voice took on the whining quality that usually preceded getting her way. "I'm sure Dad or Karen can take you after work," I suggested. Karen jumped in immediately. "Alexandra, don't be ridiculous. I have my lunch with the ladies today, and your father has that important client meeting. You know our schedules. My interview is important too," I insisted. "It's just an interview," Karen scoffed. "You can reschedule. There will be other opportunities." "That's not how professional interviews work," I explained, feeling my patience fraying. "Canceling last minute would burn this bridge completely." "Alexandra." Karen's voice turned syrupy sweet. "Danger sign number 1. After all we've done for you, letting you live here rent-free, I pay $400 a month plus groceries," I interrupted. "The least you could do is help out with family responsibilities." She continued as if I hadn't spoken. Dad finally looked up from his phone. "Lexi, family comes first. You know that. This is my career, Dad. My future. If I get this job, I can finally move out and stand on my own feet." I tried appealing to the father I used to know, the one who valued independence. Brittany wasn't having it. "You're so selfish. You always put yourself first. My social life will be ruined if I don't get these shoes." "Can't one of your friends drive you?" I asked reasonably. "They're all busy," she shrieked, though I strongly suspected she hadn't actually asked any of them. "Listen." Dad's voice took on an authoritative tone I hadn't heard in years. "Family comes first. Always. Take your sister to the mall, then go to your interview." "The timing doesn't work," I explained again. "The mall is 30 minutes east. The interview is 25 minutes west. Even if I dropped her right when the mall opens at 10, it'd never make it to my interview on time." "Then, reschedule," he said firmly. "No." The word came out stronger than I intended, but I stood by it. "I've worked too hard for this opportunity." Karen gasped as if I'd slapped her. Brittany's eyes widened in shock. No one said no in this household. Dad's face darkened, a muscle twitching in his jaw. "What did you just say to me?" His voice dropped dangerously low. "I said no." I straightened my shoulders. "I'm an adult, and this interview is my priority today. While you live under my roof, I contribute financially and help around the house," I interrupted. "This isn't about disrespecting you. It's about respecting myself and my future." I grabbed my portfolio and purse, heading toward the front door. I needed to leave now, before this escalated further. Brittany was crying theatrical tears while Karen comforted her, both watching expectantly for Dad to fix the problem. "Alexandra Collins," Dad called after me. "If you walk out that door, there will be consequences." I turned back briefly. "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm going to my interview." I reached for the doorknob, heart pounding in my chest. My fingers had barely touched the doorknob when Dad moved with surprising speed, positioning himself between me and the exit. His face had flushed to a dangerous shade of red I'd never seen before. "You're not going anywhere until we resolve this," he stated, arms crossed over his chest. "Dad, please move. I need to leave now to be on time." I tried to keep my voice calm despite the adrenaline surging through me. From the kitchen, Karen called out, "Richard, don't let her get away with this disrespect. After everything we've done for her." Brittany stood in the hallway now, tears strategically streaming down her face, yet somehow not disturbing her makeup. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. Now everyone will be at the mall without me, and I'll be a social outcast. You're 23 years old, Dad said, ignoring their commentary. But as long as you live here, you will respect our family's needs. I do respect the family, I replied, desperately trying to de-escalate. But this interview is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Please try to understand. Understand what? That you're too selfish to help your sister for one morning. His volume increased with each word. That you care more about some job than your family. It's not just some job, I insisted. This could be my career, my chance at independence. Isn't that what you always taught me to value? Don't twist my words, he shouted. I taught you to value family above all else. No, Mom taught me that, I said quietly. You taught me to stand up for myself. The mention of my mother seemed to push him further over the edge. His face contorted, veins bulging at his temples. Your mother would be ashamed of you right now, he hissed. The comment struck like a physical blow. I took an involuntary step back, tears pricking at my eyes. That's not fair. What's not fair is your attitude, Karen interjected, moving to stand beside my father. After we've given you a roof over your head, food on your plate, I contribute financially, I repeated, voice shaking. And am trying to build a life where I won't need your help anymore. Isn't that what parents are supposed to want? What we want is respect. Dad's voice rose to a shout. Respect goes both ways, I countered, glancing anxiously at my watch. If I didn't leave in the next 10 minutes, it'd definitely be late. I tried sidestepping him. Please, I need to go. His reaction happened so fast I barely registered it. His hand shot out, gripping my upper arm with bruising force. In one swift motion, he spun me around and slammed me back against the wall. My head bounced against the drywall, portfolio dropping from my hands, papers scattering across the floor. You are not walking out that door, he roared, his face inches from mine, hands pinning my shoulders to the wall. Time seemed to slow. I could feel each of his fingers digging into my flesh, the wall solid against my back, the hot spray of his spittle on my cheek as he yelled. In that moment, my father transformed into a stranger before my eyes, a red-faced, rage-filled man who was physically intimidating his own daughter. Karen gasped, a hand flying to her mouth. For a split second, shock registered on her face, before it morphed into something else, justification. Richard, she pushed you to this, she said quietly. Brittany had backed up against the opposite wall, her fake tears forgotten. For the first time, I saw genuine fear in her eyes as she witnessed what her tantrum had unleashed. Our gazes locked briefly, and I saw a flicker of realization cross her face. This wasn't normal or acceptable, no matter how spoiled she was. Dad, I whispered, struggling to breathe under his grip. You're hurting me. Something in my voice, perhaps the childlike quality of fear, seemed to penetrate his rage. He blinked rapidly, looking down at his hands as if they belonged to someone else. Slowly, his fingers unclenched, and he took one unsteady step backward. In that moment of freedom, survival instinct took over. I ducked under his arm, grabbed my car keys from the hook by the door, and bolted outside, leaving my scattered portfolio behind. I could hear him shouting as I sprinted to my car, fumbling with the keys as I unlocked it with trembling hands. Alexandra, get back here right now. Karen's voice joined his. If you leave like this, don't bother coming back tonight. I slammed the car door shut and locked it just as Dad reached the porch. Through the windshield, I could see him still yelling, gesturing wildly for me to get out. Tears blurred my vision as I started the engine and backed out of the driveway, narrowly missing the mailbox. The last image I saw in my rearview mirror was my father standing in the front yard, Karen smugly triumphant beside him, and Brittany watching from the doorway with an expression I couldn't quite decipher. As I turned the corner, a realization hit me with devastating clarity. I could never go back to that house and feel safe again. Tears streamed down my face as I drove, hands shaking so badly I had to pull over after a few blocks. I sat in a gas station parking lot, struggling to catch my breath between sobs. The skin on my shoulders throbbed where Dad's fingers had dug in. It'd have bruises tomorrow, physical evidence of a line that could never be uncrossed. My mind raced with disjointed thoughts. Where would I sleep tonight? What about my clothes, my laptop, my personal documents? Should I call the police? Would anyone believe me if I did? A quick glance at the dashboard clock jolted me back to reality. 8:47 a.m. Despite everything, I still had my interview at 10:30. The thought of walking into Sullivan and Brooks in this emotional state seemed impossible, but canceling would mean surrendering the lifeline I so desperately needed. I forced myself to take deep breaths. In, out, in, out. Gradually, the hyperventilation subsided. I opened the glove compartment and found some tissues to wipe my face, then checked my appearance in the rearview mirror. My eyes were red and puffy, makeup smeared. My carefully styled hair had partially collapsed during the confrontation. I still had my purse with basic makeup inside. No portfolio, all my printed materials were scattered across my parents' entryway floor. I'd have to make do with describing my work and experience verbally. I opened my phone's browser and navigated to my online portfolio. Grateful I'd created a digital backup. With shaking hands, I fixed my makeup as best I could, smoothed my hair, and straightened my blazer. The coffee stain seemed laughably insignificant now compared to everything else that had happened. "You can do this," I whispered to my reflection. "You have to do this." I arrived at the Sullivan and Brooks office building 45 minutes early. The extra time was a blessing. I needed it to compose myself and review the company information I'd memorized. The building lobby featured a small bathroom where I could make final adjustments to my appearance. No one would guess from looking at me that 30 minutes ago my own father had physically assaulted me. The thought brought fresh tears, which I quickly blinked away. Not now. I couldn't afford to break down now. When I approached the reception desk on the 4th floor, a woman in her 50s looked up with a warm smile. "Good morning. How can I help you?" "I'm Alexandra Collins," I managed, voice steadier than I felt. "I have an interview with Jessica Montgomery at 10:30. "Of course. You're nice and early. I'm Linda." She handed me a visitor badge. "Would you like some water or coffee while you wait?" "Water would be great, thank you." My throat felt parched from crying. As Linda returned with a bottled water, she gave me a thoughtful look. "Are you all right, dear? You seem a bit shaken." Something in her grandmotherly concern nearly cracked my carefully constructed facade. "I'm fine," I said automatically, then hesitated. "Actually, I've had a difficult morning, but I'm doing my best to stay professional." Linda nodded understanding. "Take a few deep breaths. Jessica is wonderful. You're in good hands." She lowered her voice. "And between us, arriving early and composed despite personal difficulties, that speaks volumes about your character." Her kindness was so unexpected after the morning's brutality that I had to fight back tears again. "Thank you." At exactly 10:30, Jessica Montgomery emerged from an office hallway. Tall and poised in a stylish charcoal suit, she exuded the confident energy I aspired to. "Alexandra? I'm Jessica Montgomery, marketing director." Her handshake was firm. "Please, come back to my office." Her office featured floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Marketing awards lined one wall, while campaign mock-ups decorated another. I took the offered seat across from her desk, positioning my arm to hide the faint coffee stain. "So, Alexandra Alex, please," I interjected, then immediately worried it'd been too forward. She smiled. "Alex, it is. I've reviewed your resume and was particularly impressed with your social media campaign for the local theater company. 30% increase in ticket sales is significant." The interview progressed smoothly at first. I discussed my education, internship experiences, and marketing philosophy. Jessica asked insightful questions about digital strategy and audience targeting. Despite everything, I found myself engaging passionately with the subject matter. Then came an unexpected question. "Tell me about a personal challenge you've overcome and how it shaped your professional outlook." The events of the morning flashed through my mind. Before I could stop myself, my voice cracked slightly. I I believe in perseverance through difficult circumstances. Jessica tilted her head, noticing the change in my demeanor. Are you all right? Something about her genuine concern broke through my professional veneer. I'm sorry, I said, trying to regain composure. To be completely honest, I've had a very difficult personal situation this morning, but this interview was too important to reschedule. I expected disapproval at this admission of personal problems, but Jessica's expression softened. Would you like to take a moment? She asked gently. I took a deep breath. No, I'd like to continue. I apologize for the momentary lapse. No apology necessary, she assured me. We're all human. The fact that you're here, composed and well prepared despite personal difficulties, tells me something important about your character and determination. The interview continued, and I gradually regained my professional footing. We discussed the company's recent campaigns, my ideas for their upcoming product launches, and my strengths in digital analytics. As we concluded, Jessica walked me to the door. Alex, I want to thank you for your honesty today. Too many candidates try to present a perfect facade. Your authenticity, combined with your impressive qualifications, has made quite an impression. Thank you for the opportunity, I replied sincerely. Regardless of the outcome, I've admired Sullivan and Brooks for years and appreciate your time today. She smiled. We'll be making our decision quickly. Expect to hear from us by early next week. As we shook hands, she added, And Alex, whatever you're dealing with, I hope things get better soon. As I left the building, emotions warred within me. Professional pride at having completed the interview successfully despite everything, alongside personal devastation at the irreparable fracture in my family. I sat in my car, staring at my phone screen, 17 missed calls and 26 text messages from Dad, Karen, and even Brittany. I couldn't go home, but I had nowhere else to go. I sat in my car in the Sullivan and Brooks parking lot, scrolling through the barrage of messages with numb disbelief. Dad, call me right now, Dad. Where are you? Dad, you're making things worse by ignoring me, Karen. Your father is beside himself. I hope you're happy with the drama you've caused. Karen, you owe this family an apology. Karen, we've always treated you like our own daughter, and this is how you repay us. Even Brittany had sent several messages, oscillating between anger and something resembling concern. Thanks for ruining everything. Dad's really mad. Are you okay? Where are you? Dad's freaking out. I couldn't bear to listen to the voicemails. The thought of hearing my father's voice made me physically ill. Instead, I texted the one person I knew I could trust. Megan, can we meet? Emergency. Please. Megan Peterson had been my best friend since middle school. Shed witnessed my family's transformation after Karen entered the picture and had been my consistent sounding board. Her response came almost immediately. Corner coffee in 15? What's wrong? I'll explain when I see you. Thank you. 20 minutes later, I slid into a booth across from Megan, who took one look at my face and knew something was terribly wrong. Alex, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. The dam broke. Words tumbled out between sobs as I recounted the morning's events, the argument, Dad throwing me against the wall, my escape, somehow making it through the interview. Megan's expression shifted from concern to horror. He did what? She exclaimed, loud enough that nearby patrons glanced over. Lowering her voice, she continued, Alex, that's assault. Your own father put hands on you. I still can't believe it happened, I whispered, shivering despite the warm cafe. I keep replaying it, wondering if I somehow misremembered or exaggerated it in my mind. But I didn't. He actually threw me against a wall. Megan reached across the table, squeezing my hand. You can't go back there. Not tonight, not ever. I don't have anywhere else to go, I admitted. My savings won't cover an apartment deposit yet, and the job, if I even get it, wouldn't start for at least 2 weeks. You're staying with me, she said firmly. No arguments. My roommate is visiting her parents this week, so you can use her room until we figure something out. Relief flooded through me, followed quickly by guilt. I don't want to impose Alexandra Collins. Megan cut me off, using her serious voice. This is not an imposition. This is what friends do. And honestly, I should have insisted you move out of that toxic environment months ago. Fresh tears welled up. Thank you, I whispered. We need to get your things, she said pragmatically. Do you know if they're still home? I checked the time. Dad would be at work by now. Karen has her lunch thing until at least 3. Brittany should be at school. Perfect. Well, go now, grab the essentials, and you can get the rest later when things calm down. The drive back to my parents' house felt surreal, like approaching a place I'd only visited in a nightmare. My hands trembled as I unlocked the front door. 15 minutes, Megan said quietly. Grab documents, electronics, and enough clothes for a week. I'll keep watch. The house was eerily silent. In the entryway, my scattered portfolio papers had been roughly stacked on the side table. I moved quickly upstairs to my bedroom, pulling out my largest suitcase. I packed with robotic efficiency, birth certificate and passport from the desk drawer, laptop and chargers, toiletries, enough clothes for a week, and several framed photos of my mother and me. As I reached for my graduation photo, I noticed a crack running across the glass. The frame bent as if it had been thrown. A chill ran down my spine. Downstairs, my eyes caught on the family photos lining the hallway. Dad beaming with his arm around me at my high school graduation, both of us looking uncomfortable at his wedding to Karen. The most recent one, a staged happy family portrait where everyone smiled except me. I couldn't bring myself to take any of them. Alex, hurry! Megan called softly from the door. I think I saw a car turning onto the street. In a final act of communication, I scribbled a note on the kitchen notepad. I'm safe, but I won't be coming back tonight. What happened this morning crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. Please don't try to contact me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Alex, I placed it on the counter where it couldn't be missed, then wheeled my suitcase toward the door. As we loaded my belongings into Megan's car, I took one last look at the house where I'd grown up. It no longer felt like home. Are you okay? Megan asked gently as we drove away. No, I answered honestly. But I will be. My phone continued to buzz with incoming messages throughout the afternoon. Eventually, I turned it off completely, unable to bear the onslaught. The psychological relief of that simple action was immediate, as if it'd cut a cord that had been strangling me. At Megan's apartment, I unpacked my meager belongings into her roommate's temporary space. The room was small but bright, decorated with travel posters and string lights. It felt more welcoming than my room at home had in years. Tomorrow we'll figure out next steps, Megan said, handing me a mug of tea. But tonight, just rest. You're safe here. For the first time since that morning, I felt the tension in my shoulders release slightly. Whatever happened next, I had taken the first step toward breaking free. My first morning at Megan's apartment, I woke disoriented, momentarily confused by the unfamiliar ceiling above me. Reality crashed back quickly, the confrontation, my escape, the uncertainty of my future. I checked my phone cautiously. 27 new text messages, 13 voicemails, and several missed calls, all from my family. I forced myself to read through the texts, which followed a predictable pattern. Dad's messages started with anger, shifted to demands that I come home immediately, then pivoted to grudging concern, and finally settled into guilt-tripping. I can't believe you'd worry us like this. We're your family. Families fight, but they don't abandon each other. Your mother would be so disappointed in how you've handled this. That last one stung particularly. Mom had been gone for 11 years, yet Dad still wielded her memory like a weapon when it suited him. Karen's messages were predictably manipulative. Your father barely slept last night worrying about you. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us. Even Brittany is upset. I hope you're satisfied with the chaos you've created. Brittany's messages surprised me the most. Dad is super mad. You should probably apologize. Are you really not coming back? Karen's saying all kinds of stuff about you. I didn't think Dad would freak out like that. That last one felt like an admission she hadn't anticipated how far things would escalate. Small comfort now. I typed out a brief response to Dad only. I'm safe but need space. Please respect that. Then I silenced all their conversations. Megan emerged from her bedroom in scrubs, ready for her shift at the hospital. How are you holding up? Processing, I replied honestly. Thank you again for letting me stay. As long as you need, she assured me. Oh, and check your email. Didn't you say the interview people would be in touch soon? My heart leapt. In the chaos, I'd almost forgotten about Sullivan and Brooks. I opened my email to find a message from Jessica Montgomery sent just an hour ago. Dear Alexandra, I'm pleased to inform you that we would like to offer you the junior account manager position at Sullivan and Brooks. Your portfolio, interview performance, and evident passion for marketing impressed our entire team. The starting salary is $52,000 annually, with benefits beginning after 90 days. We would like you to start next Monday, May 16th, if that timeline works for you. Please call me at your earliest convenience to discuss details and formally accept the position. Best regards, Jessica Montgomery, Marketing Director. Sullivan and Brooks. I stared at the screen in disbelief, then burst into tears, not of sadness this time, but overwhelming relief. This was it, my ticket to independence. I got the job, I whispered, showing Megan the email. She shrieked and hugged me tightly. Alex, this is huge. We're celebrating tonight. I called Jessica immediately to accept the position, my voice steadier than I expected. Later that morning, I met with Tracy, my potential roommate, to see the apartment shed mentioned. The two-bedroom unit was small but well-maintained, within reasonable commuting distance to Sullivan and Brooks. My share of rent would be $700 monthly, manageable on my new salary. We signed the lease that afternoon, with move-in scheduled for the following weekend. For the first time in months, I felt a sense of possibility. Then my phone rang with Dad's number. I declined the call, but he immediately called back. Then again, and again. After the sixth consecutive call, I finally answered. What do you want, Dad? Alexandra. His voice sounded strained. We need to talk about what happened. I'm not ready to talk yet. You can't just disappear like this. We're your family. Where are you staying? When are you coming home? I'm staying with Megan, and I'm not coming home, at least not to live there. Don't be ridiculous, he snapped, the conciliatory tone evaporating. You're overreacting to a family disagreement. A family disagreement, I echoed in disbelief. You physically assaulted me. I did not, he started indignantly. You threw me against a wall, Dad. You put your hands on me in anger. That crosses every line. You were being disrespectful. Walking out when we were talking to you. I'm not doing this, I said firmly. I accepted a job today. I've signed a lease on an apartment. I'm moving forward with my life. A pause. You did what? Without discussing it with us. I don't need your permission. I'm 23 years old. This is Karen's influence on you, isn't it? She said you've been pulling away from the family for months. The irony was breathtaking. I need to go. Alexandra Collins, don't you dare hang up on me. I ended the call. 2 days later, I arrived at Megan's apartment after buying basic necessities for my new place to find my father waiting in the lobby. My heart dropped to my stomach. How did you find me? I demanded, clutching my shopping bags like shields. I followed Megan's car from your apartment viewing, he admitted without a trace of shame. We need to talk, Lexi. You stalked me. The violation felt enormous. Don't be dramatic. I'm your father. I was worried. You need to leave. Not until you agree to come home. This rebellious phase has gone far enough. It's not a phase, Dad. You crossed a line I can't forget or forgive right now. His face darkened in the now familiar way that made my stomach clench with fear. Family loyalty means nothing to you, does it? After everything I've sacrificed. As his voice rose, other residents in the lobby began to stare. A young man approached cautiously. Tyler, Megan's neighbor from across the hall. Everything okay here? He asked, eyes moving between us. Fine, Dad snapped. Family matter. Alex, Tyler prompted, giving me the choice. My father was just leaving, I said firmly. No, I wasn't, Dad insisted. Not until you see reason, sir, Tyler said quietly. I think you should go, before someone calls building security. Dad's face flushed with anger. You think him some kind of threat? To my own daughter? I raised her. She owes me respect. Respect is earned. I responded, finding courage in Tyler's presence. And you lost mine when you put your hands on me. You ungrateful little sir, Tyler interrupted, phone in hand. I'm dialing security now. Dad looked between us, seeming to realize he was outnumbered. This isn't over, Alexandra. When you've calmed down and stopped exaggerating what happened, you know where to find your real family. Until then, you're dead to me. The words stung despite everything. I watched him storm out of the building, shoulders rigid with anger. Thank you, I said to Tyler once Dad was gone. No problem. Megan mentioned you were having family trouble. He smiled sympathetically. My dad was similar. Sometimes distance is the only solution. The next day, I filed a police report not to press charges, but to document what had happened in case the harassment continued. The officer who took my statement was kind but realistic about what they could do. Since Id moved out and wasn't returning to the house, a restraining order would be difficult to obtain without further incidents. That weekend, Megan and a few college friends helped me move my limited belongings into the new apartment. Tracy proved to be an easygoing roommate who respected boundaries, a refreshing change from what I'd grown accustomed to at home. As I hung up clothes in my new closet, I realized something profound. For the first time in years, I could breathe freely. The knot of tension I'd carried in my chest had begun to loosen. I wasn't completely healed, that would take time, but I had taken the first steps toward reclaiming my life. My first day at Sullivan and Brooks arrived with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. I'd selected my outfit the night before, a new charcoal pantsuit purchased with my first credit card, the first professional clothes I'd bought that hadn't been scrutinized and criticized by Karen. The woman in the mirror looked different somehow, shoulders straighter, eyes clearer, stance more confident. Jessica Montgomery greeted me personally when I arrived, introducing me to the team and showing me to my workspace, a small but modern desk with an actual window view. My nameplate read Alexandra Collins, Junior Account Manager. Seeing my name displayed professionally sent a thrill through me. We're excited to have you on board, Jessica said warmly. The Mason Athletic Wear campaign will be your first project. Tyler Nguyen from the creative team will get you up to speed. Tyler turned out to be a friendly graphic designer who patiently walked me through the company's systems and workflows. By lunchtime, I'd already been included in client emails and invited to the next day's strategy meeting. The environment was collaborative and energetic, exactly what I'd hoped for. As I settled into my professional routine over the next few weeks, my personal life stabilized as well. Tracy and I developed a comfortable roommate rhythm, sharing occasional meals but respecting each other's space. My new neighborhood offered affordable restaurants, a small park, and a library within walking distance. For the first time, I was building a life entirely of my own design. The harassment from my family continued, though its nature evolved. Dad's aggressive calls tapered off after I consistently declined to answer, replaced by occasional text messages fluctuating between guilt trips and stern disappointment. Karen's tactics became more underhanded. She contacted mutual friends of the family, spreading stories about my mental breakdown and abandonment of the family. Then, 3 weeks into my new job, Karen escalated dramatically. I was returning from a client meeting with Jessica when Linda from reception called my desk phone. Alex, there's someone here insisting on seeing you. A Karen Collins? She says it's a family emergency. My blood ran cold. That's my stepmother. I'm not available to see her. She's quite persistent, Linda said diplomatically. Says it's about your father's health. My heart dropped. Had something actually happened to Dad? Despite everything, the possibility shook me. It'll come up, I decided, but please have security on standby. When I reached reception, Karen was pacing dramatically, designer handbag swinging from her arm. She spotted me and immediately launched into a performance. Alexandra! Finally! I've been trying to reach you for days. What's wrong with Dad? I asked directly, maintaining distance between us. Karen's expression flickered momentarily, revealing the lie. Has been absolutely beside himself with worry. Your behavior is causing him tremendous stress. Relief and anger flooded through me simultaneously. So there's no medical emergency. The emotional damage you're causing this family is the emergency, she declared loudly, drawing attention from nearby staff. How could you spread such vicious lies about your father, claiming he abused you? After everything he's sacrificed for you. My cheeks burned as colleagues pretended not to listen. Karen, this isn't the place. Then when is the place? You've ignored our calls, blocked us on social media. Your sister cries herself to sleep, wondering what she did to make you hate her. I don't hate Brittany, I said quietly. But I won't discuss this here. Of course not. You'd rather hide behind lies than face your family. Richard has been a saint, raising you alone after your mother died, and this is how you repay him. Jessica appeared beside me, her presence solid and reassuring. Is everything all right, Alex? This is a private family matter, Karen snapped. This is a professional workplace. Jessica countered smoothly, and you're causing a disruption. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Do you know what kind of person you've hired? Karen demanded, desperate to maintain control of the narrative. She abandoned her family without a word, left her father heartbroken, and now she's spreading horrible lies, Mom. Jessica interrupted firmly. Security is on their way. You can leave voluntarily, or they can escort you out. Karen's face contorted with fury. You have no idea what she's really like. The manipulation, the ingratitude. 2 security guards appeared at the reception desk. Karen looked between them, Jessica, and me, realizing she'd lost this battle. This isn't over, Alexandra, she hissed before storming toward the elevator. Once she'd gone, mortification washed over me. Jessica, I am so sorry. I had no idea she would show up here. Not your fault, Jessica assured me. Family complications happen to everyone. Are you all right? I nodded, though I felt anything but all right. Thank you for intervening. Take a few minutes if you need them, she offered kindly. Then, well, get back to work. That evening, I recounted the humiliating incident to Tracy over takeout Chinese food in our apartment. She actually came to your workplace. Tracy was incredulous. That's completely unhinged. I'm terrified I'll lose my job, I admitted. Who wants an employee with this kind of drama? From what you've said about Jessica, she seems understanding. And it's not like you invited the chaos. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I opened it warily to find a message from Brittany, apparently using a friend's phone. Mom told me what happened at your work. That was messed up, even for her. I'm sorry. Are you really never coming back? The message caught me off guard. It was the first communication from Brittany that wasn't accusatory or self-centered. I can't come back, I replied after careful consideration. Not after what happened. Are you okay? The response came quickly. Not really. Everything's weird here now. Dad's angry all the time. Mom keeps talking about you like you're dead. I didn't realize how bad things were. A wave of guilt washed over me. Had I abandoned my stepsister to a toxic environment? Then I reminded myself. Brittany was Karen's daughter, the golden child. Their dysfunction might be uncomfortable, but it wasn't dangerous for her the way it had become for me. I'm sorry it's difficult, I wrote back. If you ever need to talk, you can always reach out. The next day, I gathered my courage and made an appointment with a therapist. Dr. Hammond was a serene woman in her 50s who listened without judgment as I recounted the family dynamics that had led to my breaking point. What you're describing includes several hallmarks of emotional abuse, she noted during our second session. Your father's behavior escalated to physical abuse when his control was threatened. That's actually a common pattern. I still feel guilty sometimes. I confessed, like I should have tried harder to make things work. Alexandra, you spent years trying to accommodate increasingly unreasonable demands. You didn't leave until your physical safety was at risk. That's not abandonment, it's self-preservation. Over the next few weeks, our sessions helped me recognize patterns. It normalized the walking on eggshells, the constant criticism, the gradual erosion of my independence. Dr. Hammond encouraged me to reconnect with support systems outside my immediate family. This led to my reaching out to my maternal grandparents, whom I hadn't seen much since Mom died. Dad had gradually limited our contact, claiming they were interfering or undermining his parenting. Now I understood those restrictions for what they were: isolation tactics. Their response to my email was immediate and heartwarming. They'd been trying to maintain contact for years but had been systematically blocked by my father. We arranged to meet for dinner at a restaurant near their retirement community. Seeing them again was emotional. Grandpa James with his kind eyes, so like my mother's, Grandma Eleanor with her gentle strength. They embraced me with such love that I fought back tears. "We've been so worried about you," Grandma admitted. "Your father became different after Martha died. Then when he married Karen, he cut us off almost completely. He said you didn't want to see me," I revealed, the betrayal still fresh. Grandpa shook his head sadly. "We called every birthday, every Christmas, sent cards and gifts. After a while, the number was disconnected." They shared stories of my mother that Dad had never told, her rebellious teenage years, her passion for social justice, her talent for mediating family conflict. For the first time, I felt connected to a family history that had been partially hidden from me. "You're so like her," Grandma said softly. "Not just your looks, but your spirit. That determination to stand up for yourself, that's pure Martha." As we parted with promises to stay in regular contact, I felt a piece of my fractured identity begin to heal. I wasn't just Richard Collins' difficult daughter or Karen's unwanted stepdaughter. I was Martha Collins' child, with a legacy and extended family I was only beginning to rediscover. The dinner with my grandparents represented a turning point. While my father's family had imploded, I was building new connections and reclaiming old ones. For the first time since the confrontation, I felt genuine hope that I could create a life filled with healthy relationships and authentic love. 6 months passed in a blur of professional growth and personal healing. My role at Sullivan and Brooks expanded as I demonstrated an aptitude for digital strategy and client relations. Jessica became not just a boss, but a mentor, providing guidance that extended beyond marketing tactics to professional development and work-life balance. "The Henderson campaign numbers are impressive," she remarked during my first performance review. "You've exceeded expectations in every area. We're considering you for the associate manager position when it opens next quarter." My apartment with Tracy had transformed from a bare-bones necessity to a genuine home. Photos of my mother, grandparents, and new friends adorned the walls. Weekends were filled with farmers markets, local concerts, and occasional road trips with Megan. It even adopted a rescue cat named Milo, who greeted me enthusiastically each evening. Contact with my father and Karen had dwindled to occasional terse text messages, which I answered politely but briefly. The emotional charge had diminished. I no longer felt panic at seeing their names on my phone. Dr. Hammond called this emotional disentanglement, a necessary step in healing from family trauma. Brittany and I maintained sporadic contact. Her messages revealed a gradual awakening to the dysfunction in our home. Without me as the family scapegoat, she'd begun experiencing more direct criticism from Karen and witnessing more of Dad's temper firsthand. On a crisp October evening, I received an unexpected text from her. "Can we meet somewhere? Need to talk in person." We arranged to meet at a coffee shop halfway between our homes the following Saturday. I arrived early, nervous about what she might want to discuss. When Brittany walked in, I was struck by how much she'd matured in just 6 months. The perpetually pouty teenager had been replaced by a more solemn young woman. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, sliding into the booth with an uncharacteristic awkwardness. "Of course. Everything okay?" She stared into her cappuccino. "Not really. Things at home are bad. They fight all the time now. About money, about me, about you. Dad broke a lamp last week during an argument." My chest tightened. "Did he hurt anyone?" "No, but he came close. He grabbed Mom's wrist really hard when she threatened to leave him." She looked up, eyes glistening. "I keep thinking about what he did to you. I didn't want to believe it was that bad, but now. I'm sorry you're dealing with this," I said sincerely. "I should be apologizing to you," she blurted out. "I was awful. That whole mall thing, I could have asked anyone for a ride. I just wanted to cause trouble because I was jealous of you." Jealous? Of me? The concept seemed absurd. Why? Because you're smart and independent. Because Dad always talked about how capable you were, even while criticizing you. Because you had a plan for your life, and I was just coasting on being the spoiled princess. She wiped away a tear. "I didn't realize how toxic everything was until you left, and I became the new target." The confession stunned me. All those years of feeling inferior to the golden child, and she'd been envious of me? The family dynamic was unhealthy for both of us, just in different ways, I offered. You were set up to be dependent and entitled. I was set up to be the problem child, regardless of what I did. She nodded slowly. I've been researching stuff online about family roles and emotional abuse. It sounds exactly like us. It took me therapy to figure that out, I admitted. You're ahead of where I was at your age. I want to move out after graduation, she said. Apply to colleges far away. But I'm scared. I felt a surge of protectiveness toward my stepsister that I'd never experienced before. I'll help however I can, with applications, finding scholarships, whatever you need. Really? Even after everything? We were both kids manipulated by adults who should have known better, I said. We can choose a different relationship now. As we parted with a tentative hug, I realized how far I'd come. 6 months ago, I'd been desperate to escape my family at any cost. Now I could offer compassion without sacrificing my boundaries. The following week, I had dinner with my grandparents at their retirement community. They'd become a regular presence in my life, filling some of the void left by my estrangement from Dad. We have something to tell you, Grandpa said as we finished dessert. We've updated our will to include a college fund for Brittany. That's incredibly generous, I said, surprised. You barely know her. Grandma patted my hand. She's your sister in all the ways that matter, and it sounds like she needs the same thing you did a way out. Family isn't just blood, Grandpa added. It's about who shows up, who supports your growth, who loves you without conditions. Their wisdom resonated deeply. Family wasn't the people who demanded loyalty while causing harm. It was the network of support I'd built and reclaimed over the past months. 2 days later, as I arrived home from work, I froze at the sight of a familiar figure standing outside my apartment building. Dad, older looking than I remembered, the lines in his face deeper, his posture less commanding. My first instinct was to retreat, but I steeled myself and approached. Dad, what are you doing here? He turned, surprise flickering across his features, as if he hadn't expected me to actually appear. Alexandra, you look well. How did you find my address? Brittany, he admitted. Don't blame her. I insisted it was for reconciliation. Is that why you're here? To reconcile. A father shouldn't have to be cut off from his daughter for one mistake, he said, the familiar self-righteousness creeping into his tone. It wasn't one mistake. It was the culmination of years of emotional abuse, followed by physical violence, I stated calmly, the therapeutic language giving me strength. Abuse? That's the kind of nonsense your therapist has been filling your head with, he scoffed. We gave you everything, Alexandra. A home, an education. Love. Love doesn't throw people against walls, Dad. Love doesn't belittle or control or isolate. You've always been dramatic, he sighed. Just like your mother. Thank you, I said, surprising him. That's the highest compliment you could give me. His expression hardened. I came to tell you that your grandparents have been poisoning you against us. They never thought I was good enough for your mother. Now they're turning you against your own family. They're my family too, I pointed out. And they've supported me without conditions. We're your real family, he insisted. Karen's been asking about you. Even with how you've hurt her, she's willing to forgive you if you just apologize and come home for Sunday dinner. The absurdity of this framing, Karen forgiving me, might have made me laugh if it weren't so tragic. I'm not coming home, Dad. This is my home now. This isn't over, Alexandra, he said, voice rising. Family is forever. You can't just walk away from your obligations. I'm not walking away from family, I said quietly. I'm walking away from abuse disguised as love. There's a difference. You think you're so wise now, with your job and apartment? You'd be nothing without everything I sacrificed for you. I worked 60-hour weeks to put food on your table, and am grateful for that, I acknowledged. You were a good provider, but somewhere along the way, you stopped being a good father. His face flushed with the familiar rage, and for a moment, I tensed, anticipating another physical outburst. Instead, he seemed to deflate. This conversation is pointless, he muttered. You've made up your mind to believe the worst of me. I've made up my mind to believe in myself, I corrected gently. Goodbye, Dad. As I watched him walk away, I felt an unexpected lightness, not happiness. Exactly, there was still grief, for the father I'd lost long before our final confrontation, but freedom. The cycle was broken. I was free. Back in my apartment, I found a voicemail from Jessica about a new executive training program the company was launching. You'd be perfect for it, Alex. Let's talk tomorrow. Standing on my small balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant oranges and pinks, I reflected on how much had changed in 6 months. I'd lost my biological family but gained a chosen one. I'd discovered strength I never knew I possessed. I'd learned that setting boundaries wasn't selfish, it was necessary for survival and growth. My phone buzzed with a text from Megan. Dinner tomorrow? Bringing that cute guy Tyler from your building. I smiled, typing back an enthusiastic yes. Life wasn't perfect, healing rarely followed a straight line, but it was authentically mine. Every decision, every relationship, every triumph and setback belonged to me alone. The journey from victim to survivor wasn't complete, and might never be. But for the first time since that terrible morning when my father's hands had slammed me against the wall, I felt truly, completely whole. Have you ever had to walk away from a toxic relationship for your own well-being? What helped you find the strength to set boundaries? Share your stories in the comments. Your experience might help someone else who's struggling. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this resonated with you, and hit that share button if you know someone who needs to hear this message. Remember, family should be a source of support, not trauma. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it helps you recognize your own worth and right to safety. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.